What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, January 21st, and welcome back to the Nick Watkins Show. I'm Nick Watkins. Let's get into it. We have a couple of baseball things to talk about. We also have some um, basketball, hockey. So we don't have a lot of time to talk about those, so let's get into it real quick. First, we'll start with baseball. There was a trade last night. The Chicago White Sox traded Luis Robert Jr. to the New York Mets in exchange for Luis Angel Acuna, another pitching prospect in the minors. I think I think this is a good trade for both sides. Like I said, if you saw my instant reaction last night, then you'd know I think it's a good trade for both sides. For the Mets, they missed on Kyle Tucker. They traded away Brandon Nimmo, so they really didn't have out. They had Soto, obviously, who's going to play the outfield at least for now, but they didn't really have a center fielder or a left fielder still. Um, so they went out, they addressed that, and they talked over the offseason, Cohen and Stearns and all them, all the, owner, all that stuff. They talked about wanting to be better defensively. If you look at last year, they had a great offensive lineup, but the defense was subpar. So they go out, they get a Gold Glove center fielder. They get he's a great center fielder. He can play great defense out there for you. And in his best year, which I believe was 21, he had 38 homers and 20 stolen bases. So he's got some pop. He's got some wheels too. He's an exciting player. He kind of has struggled over the past couple of years, the past 2 seasons. He was on the White Sox, so you got to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. But I think there is definitely potential for him to turn his career around. Not that it was going, so poorly to begin with, but the offensive numbers aren't exactly there from the past couple of seasons. But the Mets are a good hitting team. They have a lot of good hitters and probably some great coaches as well to try and help him out. I think this could be great for Luis Robert to play, meaningful baseball. And the tools are all there. There's definitely the potential for talent. We'll just see how it translates in the Big Apple. And for the White Sox, good return. Acuna, he's a good prospect, play young, second baseman. Ronald Acuna Jr.'s little brother. Um, I think it could be good for both teams. Good trade, good trade. So that trade, in my opinion, and what it doesn't take a rocket scientist to go from A to B here. When Tucker signed, that meant Bellinger was the next best option. Um, Bellinger had been waiting for Tucker to sign so he could see who's left and all that stuff. So once Tucker signed, Cody Bellinger signing to a team would pretty much be imminent. And then with the Robert trade, it seemed like the Mets, in my opinion, it was between the Mets and the Yankees for Cody Bellinger. And the Mets said, maybe something went wrong in the negotiations. Maybe they were tired of waiting around, but they pulled the trigger and pivoted away from Bellinger and traded for Luis Robert. They wouldn't have to spend as much money in that sense. Not that they, are short on money. They have, Cohen. But that left it to free for the Yankees to re-sign Cody Bellinger on a 5-year, $162.5 million deal to bring Cody Bellinger back to the Bronx Bombers. I think this is a good signing. Cody Bellinger had a fantastic year last year. Um, just trying to let's pull up his stats real quick. Cody Bellinger's stats. Where is he? Let's search him up. I know he had a really great year last year. The Yankees had a lot of homers, and he definitely contributed to that. Um, Cody Bellinger, search him up. Okay, so he hit 272 last year, which was 35th in the league, 588 at bats, that's 37th. He had 160 hits, 29 homers, so one shy of 30, and 98 RBIs, was 17th in the league. It's a good offensive year, and I don't know if he has a Gold Glove. Um, he might he might have a maybe a first base. I mean, he's a former MVP, former Rookie of the Year. Cody Bellinger, he turned his career around that last year in New York, and he got rewarded for it with a contract on the upside of 30 million. So I say good for him, good for the Yankees. Grisham accepted the qualifying offer back in November, and now they re-signed Cody Bellinger. Judge is obviously locked up, so their outfield is set, at least for this year. But they have Bellinger and Judge for at least the next 5 years, maybe more than that. That's a good signing. He seemed to fit well there, and now he's going to be there for the next 5 years. So the Yankees haven't really made a lot of moves. They lost some pieces to the Mets, Williams and Weaver as well. But they brought one of their guys back. They made a big signing after missing on Tucker. But and Cody Bellinger is not a bad consolation prize at all for missing on Kyle Tucker. He's a great player. I remember when he was on the Dodgers. I did not like him very much, but I've grown to like him a little bit more. He, the swing is good, especially in that short porch in the Yankee Stadium. And he's a great outfielder as well. He can play center field, he can play left and right, and even first base if you need him to. So I say good signing for the Yankees, and then the Robert trade is a good trade for the Mets and the White Sox. So just good signings all around with these New York outfielders. So now let's get into the less positive stuff. The games from yesterday, the Sharks and Warriors were both playing the second game of back to back. The Warriors game, we'll start with that because it's probably the more prevalent one in terms of meaning. Um, so Jimmy Butler obviously went down. He's out for the season with a torn ACL. That happened last night, or 2 nights ago. But last night was the first game without Jimmy Butler. I was very nervous to see how it went. We did lose. We lost by 18 points. But the way that it went was kind of surprising to me that we scored 127 points in this game. 20 of those points came from Jonathan Kuminga, who did play. So that's honestly, it's great to see JK back on the floor. Great to see him playing. But the offense, Buddy Hield had 25. He was 6 for 6 on three. Buddy Hield. If Buddy can sustain that, then I'm not saying, it's not like we would definitely skip a beat. We wouldn't be skipping it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Jimmy, obviously tough loss, but if Buddy can play like that consistently, holy moly, I think we can be okay on the offensive end. And we see that. We're okay in the offensive end. 127 points. That's a good amount of points. The problem is the Raptors scored 145. Emmanuel quickly dropped a 40 bomb. Scotty Barnes, 26, 7, and 11. Ingram had 22. Mamukelashvili had 14. And yes, I pronounced Mamukelashvili in the first try, so I think that deserves some props, some praise in the comments, perhaps. If you're here, drop a little Sandro Mamukelashvili. Drop a little Sandro Mamukelashvili in the comments if you're here at the 7 minute 40 second mark about. So yeah, not Jimmy Butler's defense is definitely underappreciated. I know him and Draymond talked about it, how when he came over from the Heat last year, it was like they didn't have like plays for Jimmy Butler. He would just go out there and say, "Hey Jimmy, do what you do, man." And they played great defense. The defense was definitely a problem last night. Um, yeah, our starters were minus like 20. Draymond minus 27, Pods, Steph, Moody, all like in the deep negatives in the plus minus, which is not good. The Raptors are a very good team. Very good team. We got down big. We were down 30 at one point. The Raptors led the whole time, but we closed the gap in the fourth quarter, but it just wasn't enough. So offensively, I think we can be fine. If we're going to be fine if Buddy Hield can continue to play like that. We can get contributions from Kuminga as well, which is awesome to see. But the defense definitely can be problematic. And the Warriors have played good defense over the season, or especially recently. But without Jimmy Butler, his defense very underappreciated and very overlooked. I think that can be a problem and needs to be addressed. Because it's basically for defense, it's just Draymond. And then Moody's good as well. But other than that, and then GP2, of course. But it's really those three guys who can play great defense. And without Jimmy and his underappreciated defense, it's going to be a lot tougher to win basketball games. It is positive though to see the offense performing well, especially just the day after Jimmy went down. So that's a good sign. We'll take that into the next game, which is on Thursday at Dallas. Hopefully, we can get back in the W column there. And hopefully we can work out the defense by that point. The Sharks played last night and lost. Lost 4-1 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're gonna try to wrap this up here. I gotta go. We scored first, which is great, and then like less than So 33 seconds later, the Lightning responded. Then they scored two more in the second period, an empty netter at the end. That was 4-1. The Sharks started out playing well. They were playing controlled and aggressive, and you know, getting good looks. And then it just felt like maybe the wheels fell off a little bit. Um, yeah, I Yeah, maybe the wheels fell off. I mean, it is another back to back for the Sharks. He played like three or four back to backs in a row, which I don't know why that is. But yeah, we kind of got sloppy at the end, and Askarov wasn't the sharpest last night. And the Lightning are a very good team. The Lightning, 31-13-4. They're first in the Atlantic. They're actually tied for first in the Eastern Conference. Or they are first in the Eastern Conference. So that's one of the better teams, one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. And we're coming off back to back, but you can't be making excuses. But we do have excuse. We don't. We have a pretty good excuse. We're back to backs and back to backs on the road against a great hockey team. So, as for national TV today, we got the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs at 4, and then the Islanders and the Kraken at 6:30. For basketball, we have the Cavs and the Hornets at 4, Thunder Bucks at 6:30. No basketball, obviously no baseball. College football's over. We'll be keeping an eye out for baseball. Maybe there'll be some more signings. I don't really think there are any more big position players to come off that are still out there free agent wise. Um, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna end this now so I can get it uploaded before I head off to work, and then yeah. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.